Hey, everybody, welcome back. You know what we're diving into today, right?
Yeah, budgeting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That thing that everyone loves to talk about,
right.
but maybe not actually do, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So we're going to make it easier this time. We've got some really cool research that I think
Yeah.
is going to help us kind of break this down into
Tell Sloom.
steps that'll actually work. Yeah.
I think the interesting thing about all of the different sources that we have today
Right.
is that it's less about the numbers and it's more about the psychology behind what makes us tick when it comes to our money.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, how many times have people said, make a budget, make a budget?
right.
But it's like, where do you even begin? So I did notice, like, a lot of our sources today are saying, look, you got to start with your goals.
Yeah.
It's almost like
Yeah.
before you even get in the car, you got to know where you're going. Like, what's that final destination? Is it a vacation? Is it
Yeah.
like a down payment on a house? What is that thing that you're working towards?
And I think that's a really important point because it should be something that gets you excited.
Yes.
Right? We shouldn't think of a budget as this restrictive thing.
Exactly.
It's actually helping us get to a point of, like you said, that vacation or that financial security. And one of the ways that our sources really emphasize nailing down those goals is by using the SMART method.
Okay, break that down. I always hear about this. What does
Yeah.
that even mean?
So SMART is an acronym, and it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Okay.
So instead of just saying, I want to save more money, which is a great goal to have,
Right, yeah.
you need to be much more specific. So that might look like, I want to save $5,000 for a down payment on a car, and I want to do that in 12 months.
Oh, so there's an actual, like, deadline on it.
Exactly. Okay.
So you're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall hoping
Right.
it's going to stick.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got our big goal. We're using that SMART method to really refine it. Now what? What's the next step?
So now comes the fun part, figuring out where our money is actually going.
Ooh, yeah.
Because
It's like detective work almost.
Yes, exactly. And this part doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be about judgment.
Right.
It's just about awareness. So what are your fixed expenses? Things like rent or mortgage payments. And what are your variable expenses like, entertainment or groceries, those sorts of things.
And this is where those apps, I'm guessing, come in handy. Because I know, like, Mint and YAmber mentioned in a couple of our sources.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those are great resources.
But is there anything in those apps that can, like, help us
Yeah.
succeed even more?
So many of them are starting to incorporate things like goal tracking features that link directly to your spending habits.
Cool.
So you can actually see visually how you're progressing towards that new car or that vacation. And some even offer personalized spending analysis, which can be really helpful in identifying areas where you might be able to cut back without feeling like you're completely sacrificing your lifestyle. Ooh, so it's like a little finance coach in your pocket.
Exactly.
I like it. Okay, so we've tracked our spending. We kind of have an idea. Now what? We got to pick a method, right?
Yeah. Now we're going to talk about how we can actually manage that money, right?
Yes.
And the thing I love about budgeting is it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Yes.
There's so many different methods out there, and our research really emphasizes finding one that aligns with your personality.
Yes, I love that. So I see we've got the 50-30-20 rule,
Yeah.
zero-based budgeting,
Yeah.
and the envelope system. So
Right.
can we maybe break those down a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So the 50-30-20 rule is a really popular one, and it's pretty simple, right? 50% of your after-tax income goes to your needs, 30% goes to your wants, and then 20% goes towards your savings and debt repayment.
Okay, so it's like a good framework, but it's not like crazy strict.
Right, exactly.
Okay. What about zero-based? Because that one, I gotta be honest, sounds a little intense. It does. It definitely requires a lot more diligence and effort.
Okay.
And with zero-based budgeting, you're basically assigning a job to every single dollar that comes in.
Okay.
So whether it's your rent payment, your groceries, that daily coffee, you're accounting for every single dollar.
Nothing gets left behind.
Exactly.
Okay. And then we have the envelope system, which I personally, I feel like this is good for a visual learner,
Yes, absolutely.
someone who likes to, like, see it.
This is a very tactile method,
Yeah.
right? You would literally take cash, divide it into envelopes, and you would label those envelopes based on different spending categories. So you might have an envelope for groceries, one for entertainment, one for dining out. And the idea is that once that cash is gone, it's gone. You're not allowed to spend any more money in that category for the month.
Oh, so you can't cheat. Once the money's gone, it's gone.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
That's really good. It seems like each one has its pros and cons, its own, like, advantages and disadvantages. I
Yes.
like it. Okay, so we've kind of now got our budget style, but what about saving strategies? What about actually putting money away? What are our sources saying about that?
So I think the biggest takeaway from a lot of the research is automating your savings.
Ah, yes.
And it might seem simple,
Yeah.
but it is so powerful.
Okay.
You set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your savings account every single month.
Right.
And you do it on the day that you get paid. So the money's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, I was actually reading about that. They were saying, like, people who automate their savings are way more likely to reach their goals because they don't even have to think about it.
Exactly.
It's just happening in the background.
And it's so much easier to adjust to, I think, than
Yeah.
trying to manually move that money over every single month.
Yeah, I feel like when I get paid and I see a big chunk gone, I'm like, oh, what happened?
Right. But when it's just like little by little,
Exactly.
it's kind of,
It's already gone. You don't even miss it.
it just happens. Exactly. Okay, that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
What about debt? Because, that's another big one.
Absolutely. And a lot of our sources really emphasized, that high interest debt, credit card debt especially, that can really hinder your progress towards those financial goals.
Yeah, it's like you're running a race,
Yes.
but you're dragging this big weight behind you.
Exactly.
You're like, why am I not moving forward?
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. So the two methods that I see popping up a lot are the snowball and the avalanche methods. Could you kind of just remind everybody what those are?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the snowball method, this is where you focus on paying off your smallest debts first, regardless of the interest rate.
Yeah.
And this is really good for those quick wins.
Okay, so it's more of like a motivation thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to kind of build that momentum. You're checking things off your list, and it just feels good.
Yeah, you're like, yes. Okay, next one.
Exactly.
You say, what about avalanche? So the avalanche method, this is where we're a little bit more strategic and we're prioritizing paying down the debt with the highest interest rate first.
Okay.
And this is because mathematically, it saves you the most money on interest over time.
Okay. So if you're in it for the long haul, this is probably a good one to do.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it. So we've got our goals. We're tracking our spending. We've picked a budget style.
Mhm.
And we even have a plan to tackle debt.
Yeah.
What else is there?
The last thing is probably one of the most important. And that is making sure that we are reviewing and we are adjusting our budgets regularly.
Oh, okay. So it's not just like you set it and forget it.
No.
It's constantly got to be
Yeah.
morphing and changing as you do, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because things happen, right? We get new jobs, we have unexpected expenses pop up,
Right.
and we need to be able to adapt our spending plan accordingly.
Yeah, I was actually reading about this thing called a rolling budget, which I thought was kind of cool,
Mm-hmm.
where basically every month you're reassessing.
It's okay, what's coming in, what's going out. It's
Yeah.
not like this rigid thing.
Exactly. It allows for that flexibility.
Yeah, because life happens.
Yes, exactly.
You can't predict everything.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, so I guess the big takeaway here is that, having a budget shouldn't be restrictive. It should be empowering almost.
Absolutely. And I think that's what all of our research really emphasizes. It's about making conscious choices with your money
Yeah.
that are aligned with your values and your goals.
Yeah, it's like you're in the driver's seat. You're
Yep.
making these decisions. It's not just like,
Right.
oh, this is happening to me.
Exactly.
You're in control. Okay, so as we all go about our week, maybe just think about one tiny change you can make today,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's downloading one of those budgeting apps or just even looking at your bank statement
Yeah.
for 5 minutes. Just start somewhere.
Yes. Take that first step.
Yes. Amazing. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, everybody, on this deep dive. We will, of course, see you next week for another one.